Hey everybody, it's Josh with Talk About Trek, and we are back again on another Warp Tuesday to talk about everything that I feel like talking about this Tuesday in my world of Star Trek. Uh, Strange New Worlds has ended. We've had our 10 episodes, so now we are into our kind of our Star Trek lull until 2026 when we get some Starfleet Academy coming in. So we don't have a lot of Star Trek big news coming down the pipeline. I don't expect, in any time shortly. But you still can get your new Star Trek fix. Don't forget, every week there is a new episode of Star Trek Con that you can get for free on YouTube. I did listen to the episode today, which I enjoyed while I was bagging and boarding my Star Trek comic books, right? So, couldn't ask for a funner time, right? Absolutely. So, we did that. We got a bunch of stuff taken care of. We figured out what we were missing so we could start kind of filling in that collection. And, we got to do all that while listening to a very interesting episode of Con today. So, but, again, today's episode of Warp Tuesday is not going to be about Star Trek news. It's going to be more about this Star Trek collection that you see behind me here. And we have added to it. We're adding to it continually, and it's a bit of a problem because I am in a limited amount of space here. I only have so much room, and once all that room is gone, that's it. I can only fill up so much. And I can't expand beyond this zone. My wife and family have been patient enough with me. But here, let's give you just a brief look here, okay? So check this out. That's me. All right, here, look. First off, we have the bookshelf area here, okay, as you can see. Continues over there a little bit, and then we've got get out of the way. We've got the toy shelf back here, and you can't really see, but on this wall here, miscellaneous things. This shelf here, we've got some games. This is mostly games. The Mego bridge down here. But anyway, we got pictures on the ceiling even. Let's go back over here. So anyway, you can kind of see what's going on here. It's full. It's full. We're going to have to add some things. And we keep picking up more things all the time. So first off here, let's have a look at what the most recent pickup was here. Exactly what I need, right? More Star Trek books. But this was great. We went to a used bookstore up in Michigan, and about $2 a piece here. I came equipped with my list, but unbeknownst to me, my list was not accurate, and I actually ended up buying, I think, surprisingly, just two that I already had. But I thought we would spend some time kind of going over what we picked up. Because it is some actually pretty fun pickups here. And we will do it in some sort of order here. Tell you what. Let's start with some TOS stuff. We got Mud in Your Eye, TOS number 81. And that's by Jerry Oltian. I don't think I've read any of his work before. And check this one. I love the cover on this one. Look at this. You got this Klingon with this flowing hair, Kirk, and then look, this city in a bubble above an ocean. That looks fantastic. So, very cool stuff there. This beginning here, Book 1, Keith R.A. DeCandido series, IKS Gorkon, which I don't have any of, but now we've got Book 1. And then we picked up a little bit of something from New Frontier. And we do have some New Frontier. There's a lot of New Frontier, but we didn't have this one. Requiem, another Peter David, which we're always glad to pick up. Check this out. Boom. Homecoming. That's a must-have, right? Gotta have Homecoming. And then we did a huge number. Well, not as huge as I thought, but we got 5 Deep Space Nine novels. Excuse me. Now, we already have a good amount of Deep Space Nine. Actually, let's go to Let me see here if we can get a good display capture going here. Alright, let's see. We want to capture... so, what do we want to... No, that's not the one. Hold on, going back. That's not going to work right now. Boom, we're going back. Anyway, I was just going to show you my list of Star Trek books, but you don't want to look at a spreadsheet. I'll show you my spreadsheet some other time. Whoever wants to look at it. Anyway, I thought that I had needed 3 and 9, Proud Helios and Bloodletter. I already had those. So these will be a donation to the Star Trek store. But we did pick up 17, The Heart of the Warrior. We got Worf and Odo on the cover there. We got 25 and 26, which is parts 2 and 3 of the Rebels series. Right? And I do already have part 1, so that's awesome that we were able to fill that out. And then check this out, book 1 of the Left Hand of Destiny. So, unfortunately, again, I've got to make some moves. My bookshelf is filled up to the brim. So I'm going to have to do some real thinking on what we're going to do here to bring it up to where we want it to be. And we also have to remember we have to leave room. We have to have a plan for the future. Right now, with this latest acquisition of books, I think that it put us... Let me see. I have the list here, but you can't see it. And I still, again, I need to go through and I need to double check because I do think that we're missing some I didn't mark off. But, amazingly enough, I think that was my 501st Star Trek book. We'll say it was this one, right? 501. And I actually think we're probably a little bit more than that. Maybe I don't have some of the newer ones on the list and some of the reference stuff on the list. But all in all, this list here includes, and it's a pretty good list, 823 total books. So I am way more than halfway there. Still a lot to go, you know. But then when you start to think about where all that's going to go, I really got to figure that out. But anyway, enough about my Star Trek book collection. I know you guys are bored to death hearing about that, right? Sick to death hearing about that. Tell you what, let's talk about something else fun here. I'm coming back, I promise. There's just so many of them. Oh, I'm making a mess down here. Okay, here, we're back. Okay, check this out. Star Trek comic books. Right, so again, I spent a good amount of time today going through the old collection here because I needed to send an email to my comic book guy and say, you know, I need this, and this. So we did that, but I just want to give you guys an idea of the world that's out there right now. Now, of course, you guys, I'm sure, know there's a huge history of Trek comic books and Marvel, DC, Malibu. I mean, just probably about every single like publishing company has probably had their hands in some sort of Star Trek story. So there is an enormous amount of stories and art and just fun to be had out there in the comic book world. And I feel like I have a unique opportunity to fill that in. In my town, I have one of the probably best comic book sources around. And I'm always able to find and search through these long boxes of comics and find Trek comics, right? But we're not going to talk about the old comics today in this one. I just want to show a little bit of what the kind of the new stuff is all about. So they had basically two, and I'm saying is IDW, the publishing company that has the license right now. They were running a main Star Trek line, which, as you can see, I think this went to about 25, and they were running Star Trek Defiant. So these were kind of like their two main stories, and those went on for, again, I think over 2 years each. Yeah, here, look. Here's Defiant episode issue number 27, and then the Star Trek ones, they went up. Actually, looks through 32 here. And again, I don't even have them all. I'm definitely missing quite a few here. Let me see if I want to try to get all these in order here. Yeah, so here, look. And then both of those stories culminate in this one-shot, Star Trek Omega. Now, I have all of these, and I have maybe read the first 2 from each series. So one thing that I want to do going forward here, and I think to make it something that I can kind of stick with and keep doing, is I want to do a weekly kind of series on the comics. That'll get me reading them, that'll get me coming back to talk about them every week. And since New Comic Book Day is Wednesday, I thought that would be the perfect day to do it. So we will start doing a kind of weekly comic book discussion where we'll actually get into a story, show you some of the art, talk about the story a little bit, and kind of see where we're going to go. Now, I don't know if we're going to start by trying to get into this whole saga. So this is like the Star Trek, 1 through 32 or whatever. Or this whole saga, which is the Defiant series. And I would love opinions from anyone who has read through either of these two on what their thoughts were on it. It looks wild. It looks wild and crazy, right? Let's save that for last. That's very exciting. Now, what else do they have to offer? Now, some of these other ones I thought would be very interesting to look at. They're smaller miniseries, so it'd be kind of easier to handle on a Wednesday. For instance, we have the Dog of War series from Deep Space Nine. We're missing one, but hopefully we'll get that in soon. They had a series for the motion picture called Echoes. Pretty interesting stuff here. And then, of course, you have what is probably one of maybe the funnest ones is the Lower Decks series. And I have my hand positioned there for a reason. We're going to come back to that shortly. Other ones we can talk about here, Strange New Worlds has got a couple of runs. The Scorpius run, and the Illyrian Enigma being the other one. And I believe we've already talked about Star Trek Resurgence, but then there's also a Picard Stargazer series as well. So those are kind of the main lines that are out now. And most of these actually are done, right, at this point. I think the current ongoing ones is just the Lower Decks, and then the one that I am actually probably the most excited for here. What do? Do we save the best for last? Yeah, I think we do. Alright, check this out. I typically try to avoid talking about things on this channel that I don't like. But man, I'm going to talk about this because it bothers the heck out of me. So here's this very, very lovely comic here. Lower Decks. This is done by Ryan North. I love these comics. Well, I read the previous ones and I love them because obviously the animation from the cartoon just transfers very well over to the comic medium, and it looks good. They're very funny. I like the jokes. Let me tell you what I don't like. I don't like this. I don't like that. That's not even a sticker. I can't take that off of there. I can't get that off of there. That's on there forever. So every single time I pick up my comic book and I look at my comic book, I have to see an advertisement on my comic book for Paramount Plus. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm getting old. I'm an old man. But I despise that. One of the things that I love about books and comics, and well, I guess comics isn't really the same, but the cover of a comic should never be besmirched by something like this, right? You're taking this piece of art and you're sticking this nasty sticker on it and you're ruining it. And they didn't just do it for the one. They did it for this one. They did it for this one. They did it. Look, They did it for all of these stinking comics. Every single one of these Lower Decks comics gets ruined. The cover gets ruined by this stupid Paramount Plus thing, and I just don't like it. Now, again, I'm not going to get too crazy about it, but I was looking for a book. I wanted to read a scary book, not a Star Trek book for this spooky season. The Haunting of Hill House was supposed to be a very scary book. Couldn't find it in the bookstore. Went ahead and ordered it. It came in. What did the dang thing have on it? Sure enough, it had a little circle right here. It said, the inspiration for the Netflix show. So every time I pick up my book, I got to see a little advertisement on it for Netflix. No, I don't want to do that. So I did black that out. I won't do that to my comic books. That's fine. They're going to go in the box when I have to read them anyway. But for Pete's sake, come on. Just give me a cover. I don't need to know about where I can enjoy the show at or whatever. Please. If I'm picking it up, I probably obviously know that. Now, let's bring the finale of the comic book session to a close here with the comic that we are going to talk about tomorrow, actually. We are going to get into this one right here. Red Shirts. And look at this. See, this is what I'm talking about. This cover, not ruined. Not ruined. Look at that. That is so cool. So again, Red Shirts is going to be following, obviously, the what's going to happen to these red shirts. And what happens to these red shirts on Star Trek is typically not the best of things. And I think that when I was reading about this comic, it was likened to almost like those kind of old dinosaur attack cards or the alien attack, you know I'm talking, the Mars attacks kind of things. But anyway, that's the vibe that I'm getting from this art, and I'm really liking it. So tomorrow we will read Red Shirts, and we will come on and we will talk about it for sure. Oh, check that out. Look on the back. Boom. Hopefully we'll be talking about this as well soon. That's the new Voyager one, the new Voyager comic that covers the time when they come home, homecoming. So looking forward to getting into that tomorrow. And if you're interested, come on back for the new comic book show we're going to do every Wednesday. And I'll try to come up with some sort of clever name for it as well. All right. We are approaching the finale here of today's show. And I said we're going to talk about books, and I said we're going to talk about comics, and I said we're going to talk about what else? Toys, that's right. You were listening. When we were up at that used bookstore in Michigan, they did happen to have some Funko Pops. And while I was browsing the books, my kids were browsing the Pops, and they found me some good stuff. Who do we start with? All right, now check this out. Okay, first off, I'm probably not going to buy every single Star Trek Pop that exists. Because, they're probably going to make a million of them. But I will get, some of them. I've got the Lower Deckers over there, which are amazing. And if I see some that are cheap, I'll pick them up. But I am a sucker for Picard. I'll get any Picard, anytime. Oh, man, I already have this Picard. Oh, man. Live on camera. Caught out. I totally have this Picard already. Oh man, I spent $9 on this thing too. So what do we do? I don't know. Anyway, I bought this, and I already have them on the shelf, so that's not very exciting anymore, is it? But, that's not all. We can actually be really excited because that wasn't even the best. I tricked you guys. That wasn't even the best thing. I saved the best for now. This isn't even the best toy I'm going to show you, but check this out. I didn't even know they made Saru in a pop, right? Listen, I enjoyed Star Trek Discovery. I think it was a great way to bring Star Trek back, and lead into Strange New Worlds, which has been fantastic. And it gave us Saru, who, as far as I'm concerned, I think I talked about this before, is he's one of my top 5 of all time. And I opened the pop. I'm always going to open my pops. I don't care about keeping them in boxes. The old stuff I like to keep in boxes, right? But check out this Saru. Oh, it's sweet, right? Man, I've got to have like a whole Saru section now, really, to be honest with you. Because we do have... Oh, no, that one's like stuck with sticky tack. Oh, what have I done? That's fine. Okay, here we go. Check it out. So here's the new Saru. We do got the new Saru. Saru's got a lot of toys, man. Doug Jones deserves it, right? He's amazing. We've got the Playmate Saru that they put out here. Very cool. We do have him opened as well. Let's say, hey. Oh yeah, oh yeah. We got the big Saru collection going, and we've got the Mego Saru here. And the Mego Saru is very special because it is signed by Doug Jones with love to me, Josh. We'll talk about Trek. So you check it out. Yes. So yes, we have a fine Saru collection now here. The greatest cast member of Star Trek Discovery as far as I'm concerned. Man, here's the thing. I could have not bought that Jean-Luc Picard, and I could have bought Raffi Musakar, which would have been something I didn't have at least. I could have got Jack Crusher. I probably could have had them look a little bit closer for me, and I could have found something else I didn't have too. But that's fine. Oh man, what have we done here? Okay, hold on. Hold on. Now, for the grand finale of Warp Tuesday's Books, Comics, and Toys Fun Fest finale here, we went ahead and ordered something from eBay. Every now and then I'll just go onto eBay and I'll type Star Trek Rare. Just see what shows up. Maybe today was the day somebody posted something and I'm going to get the heck of a deal, right? I think I got a pretty decent deal. I found myself a Star Trek Captain Catherine Janeway as seen in Star Trek Voyager episode Flashback. This is a Delta Force Comics and Collectibles mail away, right? And I don't have a Janeway. I've got a big Janeway, but I don't have a little Janeway. She's hard to find, So this is awesome. I wanted to open it very, very badly. I did. I really wanted to open it and hold it in my hand and then put it over there with the rest of the crew. But the box is very cool. And since the box does this, woo, I decided, well, all right, you're gonna stay in the box there. But check that out. Look at how cool that is. You got Janeway in the classic outfit here. Love that episode. And also, it's so cool because it's now that episode is like kind of referenced in the new show Khan that they have. Anyway, we got our flashback Janeway, and she's going up on the shelf. I think we got a good deal for her, so very excited for that. I can't believe I bought that Picard I already had. See, we really need to do better. I need to improve my spreadsheets. Next week when we come back, whole episode all about spreadsheets. That's it. Nothing else. I'm kidding. That would be terrible. I'm not kidding. Spreadsheets. Anyway, that's it for Warp Tuesday. Books, comics, toys, and more. Not a lot of Star Trek news, but, it's not going to be news every week. We're going to be in that lull for a little bit. But my friends, get out there, read a book, read a comic, play with a toy. And as always, my friends, live long and prosper. See you guys in the next one. Have a good night.